Hello, and welcome to Battle Camper. Now, ironically, what's happening now is I set up that little funny video thing, which was meant to play at the beginning in order to let everyone sort of join and whatever and settle in. It's a bit of a joke. There was technical difficulties, but oh, I see what's happening. I see. Okay, but then it started playing through the speakers. So the joke about technical difficulties had actually caused the technical difficulties. So there you go. And then I wasn't actually being dishonest in a way because there were technical difficulties. They were just technical difficulties of my own design. I'm told the sound is quite low. Let's try and crank that up. Hopefully that's a bit better. That's it going into the red now. So fingers crossed you can hear me just fine. Let me know if you can't. But welcome to Battle Camper. This is going to be a slightly different stream because one, it's just me, which is really tempting fate. But two, I'm actually going to paint something, which is I just never do it. I don't know why. I never do on stream. I can't understand why, because it seems like such a natural thing for a channel like this to do. But I guess it's taken me like 5 years to put 2 and 2 together. So what we're going to do, I've got, basically, we've got Beornings. There they are. Very good. Make sure that's focused properly. So what you can see I've done is I've base coated it, at least, because I thought if I don't base coat it, that's the first thing you're going to have to watch me do, is just sit around slapping on loads of base color paints for an hour and a half, which is just going to be awful. Nobody wants to watch that. So I've base coated it, and that means we can go straight into washes and highlights, which is the better bit. And what I'm trying to do, of course, is get to something that looks a bit like this. This is one I've done. This one I've been doing for Harry's stream. This is all for Harry's Taylor 4 Gamers thing, because he is making us paint 200 points a month for 3 months. So we're doing a 600-point army each. I decided to do Beornings because it's really straightforward, 20 points a model, and there's a couple of bears in there. So really, really easy to get to the total allotment of points. That's only part of the reason, but I can't lie. I cannot lie that it is a legit part of the reason. So we've been painting up these Beornings, and I thought today we would take the opportunity to try and bosh out another one, get a bit of progress. What I've done is, let me switch to this camera. That's my face. There we go. So I've got 4 to do, but there's not a hope in hell that I'm actually going to be able to do 4. So we'll see how far we get. But these are the 4 that I put the base colors on to see how far we can get. Right. So, oh God, that's ironically that technical difficulties video is going to cause all kind of problems. So we're just going to delete that from the stream so it can't activate again. There we go. It's all gone. I'm going to jump into chat very quickly and see how everyone is doing. Noddy says, "What's up, nerds?" What's up, Noddy? How you doing? Thank you very much for being here. Good to see you. Go to my internet speed test. Well, if I close all this stuff, I do have quite a bit of stuff open. But it does appear to be having some problems. Jump back on below. Tell me what's going on. Okay, we're back. Apparently, we're back. I don't know what that is. Apparently, my internet isn't good, and it isn't. To be honest, it isn't very good, and it was having some problems earlier today. So fingers crossed we are back, but just drop in chat if it goes again. Right, we're back. We're going to take advantage. We're going to strike while the iron's hot. Let's get cracking. Let's just no time to waste. So we're going to start with this lad. And in order to make sure I can actually get something done, so forgive my very mouldy old wet palette there. In order to get something done, I'm going to go model by model, and we're not going to do any batch painting at all. And so we're going to start with this guy here. And as you can see with all of the past ones, what we've tried to do is get these very bright pastel-y colours. So we're going to start with the shirt, I think, as a warm-up. And I will tell you what I've undercoated them with in each step. And this one, so I'm going to move away from the microphone so you won't be able to hear me very well for a second. Oh, hello. Sorry. Right, here we go. So we are going to the paint station and we're looking for grotesque green. There we go. So grotesque green. It's called grotesque green. It's actually really nice and pretty handy. The reason I have used these colours is because I think it's one of the really nice things about this army is being able to get loads of different colours in there. But if it was like really bold, striking green colours and really bold, striking yellows and oranges and all this, it would just look awful. It would look really garish. So low saturation, high value, that's what we're looking for. Now with most of these pastel-y sort of colours, I just put a very light base coat on and then just worked up from there. I didn't wash them. But I have a secret weapon for these greens, which is, I think, an underrated GW paint. It's one of the new ones. Let me just go grab that. Okay. So, I've got this Croak Green. It's one of the ones that came out in the last wave of new shades. And it sits somewhere between like Biletan Green, which is really saturated and heavy, and on the other end of the spectrum, Athonian Camo Shade, which is a sort of very earthy, dirty green for shrubbery and camouflage. This is somewhere between the two, so it's certainly not overbearing. It also isn't all that strong, so it can sit even over really light colours like this, and it doesn't stain the upper areas too badly. It just looks really nice, I think. I used it loads on my Riders of Rohan for glazing, and I could do that with basically right out the pot because it's not very strong. And you get really, really nice coverage, so it's a really lovely paint. Oh, also today, interestingly, so I'm going to catch up in chat in just a moment. Yeah, sorry, just what the hell was I saying? Oh, who knows? This is already just screwing with my brain. This is why I need a second person to keep you on track. Oh, that's right. I'm going to do chat in a second. We'll do chat in just a moment. But I want to actually make some progress, and I feel like if I'm constantly dipping in and out of chat, I literally won't get anywhere. That's what always happens in these streams. Even when the plan is to get some work done, it never actually happens as a result. So there we go. And then whilst we wait for that to do, by do I mean dry, we're going to start putting some more washes on so it can all dry at the same time. Very sorry, by the way, I'm a compulsive brush licker. If anyone takes offense to that, it is just going to happen, I'm afraid. Right. Chat. Gohuli, I've never seen that green before. Yeah, exactly. It's. I just don't think anyone really knows it exists, but it's a lovely one. I really like it. Nathan, when is your Shire army for a tournament coming? Ah, mate, it isn't. But me and Chris came up with our idea for our Seven Stones army today, and it is tasty. I genuinely can't wait. I think it's going to be ace. Fred, can you just... Alex, you can't just assume a paint is on the spectrum. Oh, God. You need self-identification or diagnosis. Show more respect. I apologise. I will do better in future. Right then. What do I need? What's the next wash? Let's get some... Reichenflesh shade. obviously a workhorse paint. And one of the things with, I think, any army like this, but especially this one, is you want different kinds of leathers. So as you can see, I've got this leather is, I'll get to that colour in a second, but it's a brown from Two Thin Coats. I think it's called bootstrap leather. And then this is also from Two Thin Coats, and it's, I think it's fur cloak or it's darker brethren. And I wash one with Reikland Flesh Shade to give it this reddy hue. And then I'll wash the other one with Agrax Earthshade just to try and get some real difference and variety in there, so it's not just the same colour overlapping over and over again. So what I also want to do today, I've got a few things to do actually, but what I also want to do is talk about the play experience I've had with these guys so far, because I've played 3 games, I think, with them to date, and won all 3 of them, actually. And I didn't think I'd really enjoy them, to be perfectly honest. I thought that bears would be a one-trick pony, and maybe they still are, you know, it's only 3 games, but I kind of thought, you know, you run in and either you die or you kill. And I've actually had a lot more fun with them than I'd expected. I played Moria, and then I played Pure Fellowship, and then Breaking the Fellowship with, what do you call them? Haldier's Elves. Oops. And the last game in particular, the Haldier's Elves one, was super, super close, right down to the wire. The last turn, I'd lost both my bears and just happened to play the objectives basically to win the game. But it was on a knife edge the whole time. It felt quite finely balanced. The bears did have to work hard because you've got so few models, and they're not tough. You know, they're only toughness or defense 4 for the Beornings. And if you give any bows, obviously that's one that's not got its big burly benefit of going two-handed all the time with its big two-handed axe. So you do have to think harder than I thought you'd have to think, and particularly to try and get the bears to do what you want them to do, keep them in the game and in the fight, and not being bogged down by enemy chaff, is a genuinely interesting challenge. So they don't obviously have magic. They have a bit of shooting. They don't have like war machines or anything like that. So it is one build, and that's the only disappointing thing, is it is just one build. And once you've experienced them doing that one thing, you just have no choice left at all. A bear is 200 points. A Beorning is 20 points. So if you're playing a 600-point game, that's 2 bears and 10 Beornings. That's just a fact. So that's the only downside. But genuinely a lot of fun so far. Let me know in chat if you have played bears or do play bears, and if you've got any different experiences. Jamie says, good to see you live. It's been too long. Hobby night was not what I was expecting, but love it. Yeah, I hope it's good. It's just a chill way of getting back into things for me. I have obviously been away for a little while for reasons. And sorry, I'm just looking for my Agrax Earthshade now. And again, away from the microphone. God, let's see if you can help me spot it. Oh, what a nightmare this stupid cupboard is. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay. Yes. Ugh. So I just wanted a nice, easy way to get back into sort of YouTubing. And this seemed like a good way of doing it. Plus, Harry will never forgive me if I don't succeed in getting these Beornings done in time for the last stream of the year. So it's something I've got to do anyway. So here we go. As I said, Agrax going on the other bits of leather, the drier leather, I guess. It's not as rich. Perhaps it's more worn, and it's going to be highlighted with Xandri dust, which does give it a very much more worn look, and you can get some nice scratches and stuff in there. But this just separates it out from the leathers below, I think. And loads of Middle-earth miniatures, I think, have got that issue of having multiple overlayering strands of leather. It's just nice to be able to sort of separate them out. Otherwise, it can start to look quite messy. Oh God, the cat's here. Oh Jesus. I'll show you here in a second. She's gone behind the computer. She'll invariably come and want to sit right here on the desk in a second. get right in the way. Okay. This at least is the satisfying bit as well. This is the nice bit. Oh yeah, I was talking about the playstyle. Yeah, I'm actually really excited to take them to the tournament after that. I need a 600 pointer. If anyone knows of any good 600 pointers coming up, let me know, because I'd love to go and get these guys on the table proper with my new tournament filming setup as well, which I'll talk about in just a second, because I know I haven't done a proper tournament report in ages, and mostly that's due to how incredibly daunting it is to actually edit them. They take such a crazy long time that I get real paralysis even thinking about starting to edit one of those videos. And it's sort of taking the fun out of filming them, is how complicated the setups become with so many cameras and bits of equipment and things to charge and things that can go wrong. And I don't want that. You know, this channel is only about having fun, really. And so if it's not fun, there's no point. So I decided to really simplify my setup. And I invested in a new camera that can do a lot of what the other cameras were doing, but in a much smaller, easier package. And my hope is, therefore, I'm going to start getting to like just churning out tournament reports again, because they'll be so much easier to edit, so much quicker to edit. So fingers crossed we're getting back to that. Okay, I'm just going to try and I'm going to get some of the Agrax back off those trousers, because I find on tan trousers, a wash is a great start, but the contrast can just get ludicrous. Like if you, because Agrax sits so heavily on it, and when you start to layer back up, it becomes quite ugly. So I'm just making sure there's actually not too much wash sat in those recesses. That ought to do. All right, sorry. Brush licking again. Right. Jamie, an 800 points in February. Sunderland. It's more than 600, but not much more. 10 more Beornings, that's what that is. Because you see, so that's the thing. 600 is 2 bears and 10 Beornings. 800, 2 bears and 20 Beornings. You're really increasing the number of boots on the ground exponentially. 800 might be quite a good, sweet spot for the bears. And I say that with no tactical knowledge or anything like that. I say that simply because that's where you're getting a good amount of Beornings before you hit the upper end of capacity in both. Because they max out at like 1,060, I think, Beornings, because the bears are 200 each. There are no unnamed heroes, and there's 1 hero of legend, 1 hero of fortitude. So you can take a maximum of 33 Beornings. So I think 1,060 points is where they max out, which is fine because there aren't many games played above that points level anyway. But it means that at 800, you're not at the point yet where the enemy is bringing all their toys, all the big heroes, you know, Aragorns plus Gwahirs and everything else, and just slamming it all on the table. And if they are, they've still got quite low numbers like you. But it's enough that you've got enough Beornings to throw into the fray and keep your bears doing what they're supposed to. I was going to say partying then, which isn't the right word, although maybe that is. Tearing things to shreds, basically, mauling stuff. A few more comments. So Jamie, yeah, hit me up. This might be one you've told me about before. I think it's one you told me about before. I'm actually going away. I'm filming for 2 weeks in February, which is really exciting. I am filming a new road trip, probably in Europe. Let me know when in February, because if it's not clashing with that, that would be awesome. And I'd probably be able to get another 10 Beornings done by then, you'd hope. And so I could come and do 800 points of bears. Still Short says, I just can't bear it. Very good. Gilhuli, I honestly think you have the best gameplay videos I've seen. I find others really hard to do is on, but yours are very entertaining and gripping. That's really kind. Thank you very much. I really enjoy doing them. And I'm sad about the number of tournaments that I've been to and not shared. So particularly Harry Parkhill's Tizzy Gathering this year, which of course was a just absolutely wonderful, good v evil, extremely casual event that had some fantastic games at. I am going to do that. That will be a video, come rain or shine. That will be a video, but it'll probably be my last ever with that setup. Obviously, I've gone 2 7 Stoneses without uploading either 7 Stones, which is just appalling, because 7 Stones is hobby Christmas, as I always call it. It's like the big hobby event for me of the year. Damien, obviously, just Damien and Tom, complete legends. And also some more competitive stuff as well, like the GP early this year. Had a great time at the GP and never uploaded any of it. And it's all due to the time-intense nature of getting those videos together. So I'll show you a little bit, but while I'm getting sidetracked, but I'll show you basically what I bought to try and encourage myself to get these videos back up. And that's this thing. It's called a DJI Osmo Pocket 3. And I'm not shilling for it. I didn't even know it existed until last week. I just heard about this camera. Oh my God. Okay, so, right. Okay, I don't know when you lost me talking. I was just going on and on and on about cameras for ages. Literally, you're gonna have to say when I stopped. What happened was there's two versions of this microphone you can buy. One that doesn't have a little touchscreen thing at the top, and one that does. And I was like, oh, I'll get the one that does. That's fancy. But so often when I move the microphone, I accidentally touch the mute thing at the top. So yeah, Gilhooly says just repeat all of that. No, mate, it wasn't good the first time. I think it was probably better that the microphone was off. That's you've dodged a bullet. Oh, hey, Adam's in. Adam says, look at him go, consummate professional. I know. I'm sorry, dude. And hang on, are you suggesting that videos take a long time to produce? They do, especially when you put the effort in like you do. Your last video was awesome. And if anyone doesn't know your channel 3D Games, they absolutely should go and watch it because it's awesome. Right, let's actually do some painting. I'm sorry, I will catch up with chat soon, but I'm actually just quite embarrassed now about what just happened. So we're going to crack on with a bit more painting. You know what, let's do something interesting. Let's do the non-metallic metals, shall we? Because that will feel like an achievement even if we don't get much further. So it's a really nice, simple non-metallic metal recipe. We want this. Oops. Okay, so this is all we need. Sorry, so I might cut out when I brought the camera out. Bloody hell. I was talking about it for ages and then just pointing at sticks and things. Maybe I'll say it again later. Jesus, I'm so sorry. I'm very excited about the new camera. Lerpil. Sorry if I've pronounced that wrong. Very excited. The too long didn't read is the old setup for filming tournaments was an absolute nightmare. It involved a lot of kit, a lot of gear. This camera thing, which I was shilling for, Frederick, is a really good way of doing everything the big setup can do in a much more straightforward package. So I'm going to be doing tournament reports again. I'm absolutely determined to get back to doing tournament reports on a regular basis. Right, that's it. That's all we need to know. Let's crack on with this non-metallic metal. So we're just using 3 colours, grey, black, and white. And then we will do a little bit of glazing later. I'm actually going to try new paintbrushes that I've never used before. I thought they were quite interesting. I've been using, just a range of crap. But I've heard a lot about these Kolinsky and Sable brushes, and I've never used them before. So let's see what they're like. I did use the, what do you call them? Artis Opal ones. And they were lovely. They were really, really nice. I liked them a lot. So these have got their work cut out. So we're going to start just with the grey. And all we're going to do is obviously thin it down a little bit and set out where, God, this is a fine tip. Jesus. Probably too fine for this. Where the light's going to go. Now, if you are interested at all in doing non-metallic metal, I'm hoping what I'm about to show you is that it can be extremely straightforward. And the easiest way to know where the light is going to go, a tip that I saw on the internet somewhere, is just to basically look at it under a top-down light. So I've got an overhead light up here, and you can even just take a picture. But for these ones, I just want it to be really straightforward. It's never going to look super realistic, nor does it have to look super realistic. It just has to look nice. And so a really obvious place for me to put the first set of reflections is going to be right down at this corner where the flat of the blade touches. I don't know, what do you call, does an axe have a technical name for the flat bit and then the actual sharpened bit? This brush the point is too fine. That's crazy. I'm going to switch to my Artis Opal. Oh, I knocked the model off. So we're literally just putting, there we go, just putting the colour in for the moment, and then right on the edge there as well. And then we're going to put it on this little bump here. There's a sort of ridge that runs over where the wood is underneath. And then we're going to put an edge on the sort of weight bit at the top. And I'm going to do one side at a time. I'm going to flatten the blade of my brush out so that it's nice and sharp. So I can put some paint in that little crevice bit there. Okay, and that's the start. Still Unsure says the flat is the face and the blade is the sharp point. That makes sense. That's very nice and straightforward. Thank you very much. And then I'm going to grab a little bit of black. And you've probably seen it. You know this is where this is going. And we'll get some white. And this is meant to be quick. This isn't meant to be the most exquisite non-metallic metal. So I'm not going to be glazing. I'm not going to spend hours and hours slowly glazing through the layers. I am going to thin this layer down, but I'm just going to layer from the highlights to the lowlights and to the very top again. So, just in strips, with the shape following the shape of the axe head. And then I don't even need to wash my brush because I'm just adding a bit more black. Oh my God, between the microphone and my magnifying glass, it's really hard to make sure that it's still on camera. And then if it's obviously too much of a difference, I've got the two colours that I mixed still there on the palette. So I'm just going to mix them a bit more. Start putting lines between this. Oops, that's the wrong place. That's good. Start putting lines between two colours. That's fine because it was too dramatic a difference anyway. So we're just going to keep doing this. And it's going to look a bit crap for a while until it doesn't. This is very much, I think, a trust the process sort of thing. So let's get another blob. So someone said, Lerpool said, I want to learn to do non-metallics because metallics are a pain in the ass. Absolutely they are. I hate them so much. I really, really do hate using metallic paints. Some people can work miracles with them. Some people can make true metallics look better than non-metallics. And can just do fantastic things. I absolutely despise them. So an example, if I set this aside a second, I love this model. I was really, really proud of this. It's a Glade Captain that I painted in France. Some of you might remember in one of the videos. And I absolutely adore it, except for the blade. I hate the sword blade. It just looks crap. I think it looks cheap, and I think it kind of undermines the rest of the model. So the reason I've got this out is because I've got a really nice recipe for a sort of blue metallic, non-metallic. And my thinking was, if we get through this Beorning, I might go and do that sword as well. Because I think I'm going to show you it will just look so much nicer. But for the moment, we're still on this. So here we are starting to go up a little bit into whites. Again, really flat brush. And I'm going to start to try and catch a little bit more on the blade as well. And also start to build a few highlights on the more detaily bits. Liverpool says, I bet it reads better. The nice thing about non-metallics, I find, is just you've got complete control over where all the highlights are going and where the lowlights are going. You can decide where you want the focus to be, whereas true metallics, that can be really difficult. It can feel a bit like you just slap on the paints and either it will look good or it won't. And I find the highlights can just look really messy if you're not careful. And it's very hard to go back and correct mistakes because you wash it and you can't just layer back up as easily as you can with traditional non-metallic acrylics. So I just find them a bit of a nightmare, to be honest. Sorry, not talking at this bit because I'm trying to keep as steady a hand as possible. Oops. And already start to whack an edge highlight on. I mean, we're a way off yet. There's going to be there's so much touching up to do. There's so much like going back and replacing where you want the different grays to be. So what I'm thinking at the moment is that the gradient is too dark too quickly. So I'm going to go back in with the mid-tone grey, and I'm going to try to figure out where this colour was. So lower than that, and I'm going to expand it back out. So there you go. You can see it was too dark too quickly. We want this to go more like up there, I think, so that it looks just a bit brighter. And then we can just do exactly the same again, add in a bit of the darker grey, and before you know it, the two hues are matched. Right, so there's still definitely too big a leap between the mid-tone and where that highlight starts. So I'm going to do the same again, go back into the mid-tone, add in a drop of white, and start to hide that change. There you go, that's already a little bit better. And I can put another tiny little drop of white in. Do that again. Again, flatten the brush. Okay, that's starting to get a bit better. Whew. Oh. So Gilhuli says the plan for the new year is an Easterling army, which we look with the metallics. So 2 things. Firstly, awesome. You should do an Easterling army. They're really cool. But I find, do you not find gold is easy? Gold is better. Gold, when you're painting metallics or non-metallics, gold is better. So if I go back to the example of this wood elf lady, I'm not too fussed about the gold bits. I think they look fine. You know, much easier to highlight. I do still like. I tell you what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get another example. Sorry, I'm getting off track now, but bear with me just a moment. So this is something I painted last year. It's this autark for Eldar in 40k. And as you can see, I did all the metallics in this army are non-metallic because that just kind of suits Eldar. And granted, that's a bit crap. I think that's a bit rubbish, the sort of thing, decal on the back. But I was really, really pleased with this. The little, I don't know what we call that, the bit where the spear meets the haft and all the decorations there. So all the decorations around the gem, on the holster, on the spear, hanging off it, and at the bottom here, that's all non-metallic, as is. The sword on this big boy, which again, I was really pleased with. And I think it's because gold is just easier. Non-metallic gold and metallic gold is easier than silvers and irons. So maybe pommel. Yes, that's it. Pommel. Thank you. So yeah, I reckon maybe you give it a go. Maybe this is your time to bosh out the non-metallics if that's what you're interested in doing. Still and Shaw says, depends on the paint. Some golds are not equal in quality. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Which golds do you use? If I'm doing true metallic metals, I actually really like the War Paints golds from Army Painter. They're really good. Some of the GW ones are good. Some of them are appalling, really, really shoddy. And that's the only ones I've used. So any recommendations, let them know. Gilhuli says, that Eldar model is really nice. Thank you very much. That's very kind indeed. Very kind. Right, I'm going to get back to this lad. Same as before, as I said, the mid-tones are missing, and I think that's the same on the blade as well as on the flat. So we're going to get a bit more water. Flatten the blade of the brush. Go back in there. That's better. I'll have to do the highlights again, but that's fine. I'm also going to get a bit of this darker paint, sort of paint down in here, so that it doesn't just look like flat grey panel. And eventually we'll get to the point where we're at almost white with that highlight. Ridiculously thin if you can make it thin. Okay, So that's not pure white, because we want to save pure white for the little dots and the reflections, but it's not far off. And the nice thing about these axe blades is at GW they've designed it with a few sort of imperfections, notches and chips on the blade, which is a really nice way of giving them a bit of a character. So you can find them. Well, that didn't go very well. There you go. And then just highlight around notches as well. Yeah, we're just going to keep doing this for ages, basically. I'm going to get some pure black. And do some black lining where the shadow will be deepest. Because, of course, this only works if the contrast is high enough to make it look reflective. I also want to do a little bit, I think, of very, very dark grey on the edge of the blade there, where it's now become a bit too greyish. There we go. What is it? There's a little, can you see that? There's a little sort of black spot at the end of the axe head there, and I've tried to paint over it. I don't know whether it's an imperfection in the blade that I've just not spotted before. Can I paint it in? That's the question. Ah, that'll do. That's just sort of a blob, but there you go. Oh, you can see the microphone in this shot. Let's get rid of that. Oh, God. Still and Shaw says, I use scale 75 Viking gold. Can highly recommend scale 75 metals. Oh, that's very handy to know. Thank you very much. If there's anyone seen, there's a new range of there's a new range of metals from, is it Vallejo that have done this new, I think it's just called True Metallic Metal. I think that's the name of the range. And the idea is it's like a highlight, a base, an air color, and a wash specifically for a particular hue of metal. I'm really intrigued by them because there's like, some of them look at basic. They're like, you know, just what you can do with your paints at home anyway to get different golds and stuff. But it's like coloured silvers and irons and things, which look really cool. I just haven't figured out how to buy them yet. Okay. Okay. We're getting there. We're getting there. Sort of. We need more. By the way, I'm going to give up on this and do something else soon because I'm just... Oh, my attention span is so short. We'll do some skins. Skins can be interesting. Skins and metals, those are the two bits that scare me the most. And then the bits, once they're done, if they're looking good, it's like, ah, right. Now I can tackle all the leathers and fabrics and stuff because they're at least nice and straightforward. Oh, there we go. That looks better. But we're still way off getting that fading quite right. Like I said, I don't want it to be perfect, but I do want it to be smooth. Well, that's a bit much. Where's my reference? See what I mean? You just keep going. You keep going and keep going. Like it'll look messy, it'll look messy, it'll look messy until eventually it doesn't. And you just have to keep going back and forward and back and forward and back and forward. Making sure the highlights are super, super thin and sharp. Making sure all the transitions sort of just work. And the real challenge is hoping you get it done before you get bored. Which I haven't. Bloody hell. It's just can't get it to look right. Where's my water? I love that. I was like, yeah, no worries. We'll just do a bit of streaming, bosh out some miniatures. I started base coating 4 miniatures, 4, in the hope that I'd be able to get them all done. What a fool I was. It was just so obviously never going to happen. Oh well. And this is why I never get anything painted, because I'm like, oh, that was a good night's painting. I got 1/2 of an axe done. Not even 1/2 a whole axe, 1/2 of an axe head. Okay, right. Right. We're getting to the point now where I'm going to lose my mind. And we've just got to stop and paint something else. But I'm also, I find it very hard. I get very fixated. Google says, but what a half an axe head. Thank you very much. It's looking sort of like metal a bit. It's still got work to do, but it's getting there. And John says something about wet pallets, presumably something uninformed, which I'm just not going to pay attention to. Right, I'm going to move on in a second. I'm going to do this little highlight of white. Get it on the top side there as well. And then right where the join is, where the flat meets the blade. And then down the center as well. And then where the corners are, where the blade has been notched or chipped. And I'm going to leave it at that for the moment. We are going to come back to it. It's not done, but we're going to leave it at that for the moment. Leopold says, scale 75 are good for metals, but they are still horrible compared to any regular paints. Oh, okay. Just imagine how long this would take you if you were doing non-metallic leathers. Oh, mate. So the first army I was going to do for this challenge was Dol Amroth. And I love Dol Amroth. I love the aesthetic of Dol Amroth. I absolutely adore the new Prince Imriel, whatever his name is. And I always like cavalry armies. So that seemed like a winner to me. But I was planning to do non-metallic metal armor. I mean, they're just blue, white, and armor. That's just all they are. It would have been a complete and total nightmare. It just wouldn't have been. I'd still have been on like Model 1. The nice thing about this army is that I've been able to do all the metallics non-metallic, and yet that's still only a tiny amount of what there is actually to do. So it's been extremely handy, and definitely a good choice. And I would like to take credit for that, but it wasn't actually me. It was my patrons who chose. So well done, patrons. You did a good job. They're also just so much fun to play. They're just so much fun to play. Really enjoying them. Right then, let's go back to the greens. We had a green shirt on the go. We did a undercoat of grotesque green, and then we washed it with croak green, and we're going to put the grotesque green back on, and then we're going to use the white that's on that palette to just highlight it from there. And as I said, we want it to be really, really bright. Really, well, not bright, but light. I think very high value, I think is what the color theorists would say. So like this one. That's what we're going for. Right. Oh my God, my hand's shaking. So there we go. I'm even going into some of the recesses because we're going to be highlighting up from here. That croak green was mainly to catch the edges between where the fabric touches the... Oh God, I'm touching the leathers now. I'm touching cloth. There we go. So I just want this very, very pastely. Like they've been like it was once a green shirt, like it was dyed green. But it's just been sun bleached, worn to death. Oh, we can get a bit more indiscriminate here because it's just a nice big flat area. Thank you. There you go. A Rocking Hobbit says, using a wet planet like a true professional, you are also a man of culture. We have to ignore the Johns of this world, unfortunately. Oh god, I'm getting paint everywhere. Bloody hell. You can have the equipment like a professional, but it doesn't make you a professional. That's the problem. See, this is why when people film painting tutorials, they have a little wipe, like a screen wipe, and then it's done. You don't have to actually sit and watch. It's literally watching paint dry. Like it's literally the colloquialism for a boring thing. And yet here you are, some of you. Not many, but no one to blame for that but myself. Okay. And then I'm literally just getting some of that white, which has already started to dry, actually. I don't think my wet palette is wet enough. Get some of that green. Look at that. It's already started to dry. It's forming a skin. I need to wet that down. Right. There you go. It's nice and bright. I don't know if show me if there's anything of this actually showing up on screen. I've never been very good at this kind of macro filming, so I have no idea if you can see what's going on. There you go. Oh, look at that though. If you can see it, see, it already just looks so nice. I love this green. I love this recipe. Just really bright, very woodsy, appropriate for what are basically just, well, they're basically like American survivalists, aren't they? Woodsy hipsters. Presumably that's why, for some reason, Games Workshop gave them man buns, which doesn't seem very Tolkien-y, but I'll let it slide. Okay. They're choosing the green. The green is, it's called Grotesque Green, which is a green from Army Painter. And I washed it with Croak Green, which is one of the new washes from Games Workshop, and it's lovely, really, really cool. And then I'm just adding white to get up to my highlights, and this will probably be the last highlight. I noticed that I've forgotten to do that one arm. I've only done one arm. God, why is my brain like this? This is just right on the top of those folds. And then a nice sharp edge highlight. And just at the top here. Okay, that's going to need some blending, I think. There you go. That's a problem for another time. And I think just over the fold. Getting a bit chalky. Oops, that wasn't very good either. Oh, bloody hell. I can't bother to come back and to fix things. I'll have to come back another day. Yeah, it's cool, Jamie. It's like I said, it's really nice. That croak croak green. Can't think anymore. I'll grab one of my Rohirrim because I used it as like a glaze on the cloaks of the Rohirrim to get like a nice transition on there. And I just think it worked so nicely. It was like a really good way to darken them down that's just not overpowering. And that still looks like sort of Rohanish green fabric rather than camouflage cloaks, which I think when you use Athonian Camo Shade, as the name suggests, it can start to look a bit like they weren't meant to be green like the banners. Instead, they're meant to be some kind of weird Anglo-Saxon camouflage cloaks. Okay, that didn't go very well. There you go. Yeah, let's have a look. 1 second. Let me grab one of them. Yeah, so that was done just with like loads of glazing down to get that sort of darker green hue. I just think it looks really nice. Lovely colour. These are these two, the metallics here. So I did obviously metallic paints on these guys just to try and bosh them out. And that's one silver I can get on board with. That's Army Painter Cobalt Blue. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, or Cobalt Metal. Sorry, so it's this Cobalt Metal colour, which is just this beautiful, beautiful sort of blue hue. I'll show you on the palette. So you get this gorgeous sort of like, I don't know, I'd say opal, but that's not the right colour. But just, well, cobalt. Yeah, so it's cobalt, like very sort of cobalty, nice, shiny blue. And even when you highlight with a non-blue silver, you just get a really gorgeous sort of blue hue coming in from below it. Highly recommend it. What was I doing? Oh, yeah. Jumper. We'll leave that as it is for the moment. We'll go and do something else. Let's do some leathers, shall we? Leathers are always fun. So the leather... Oh, I just flicked something. Was undercoated with... Where is it? There it is. So these are the two of the Two Thin Coats paints. Undercoated the leather with boar hide, which is basically... what's it called? There's a GW equivalent paint. They're sort of Mournfang Brown. I think this is basically Mournfang Brown, but from Two Thin Coats. And then there's Tuscaur Fur from Games Workshop, which is Fur Cloak from Two Thin Coats. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to paint back up over the wash with boar hide. The wash has gone on very, very shinily, but a nice dollop of matte varnish. We'll deal with that later. Also, ignore the absolute state of that paint. Just can't get it clean. Look at that. Ugh. There you go. Jamie says, got them on my wish list. Is that the, I don't know which ones you were talking about, but if that's some of the Two Thin Coat stuff, I do think they're really nice, to be honest. Really nice paints. You see this one just goes on super, super easily. So I'm just going to get that edge back. These are, I find, oh God, I just got on the green. Bloody hell. What an idiot. Oh, yeah, I've made it worse. Oh, Christ. It looks like he's been stabbed. Oh, it's too late. Oh, that's the problem with all these really bright colours as well. Is they stain so easily. So now he's got some sort of pink on his shirt. But yeah, anyway, the two hardest bits, I think, in painting these Beornings miniatures, firstly, are these weird coats. And I do think they're weird. Like, because they've got all these hundreds of little ridges in them. And I'm not sure what that's... I don't know what that's meant to be. I don't know what that's meant to represent. But edge highlighting them to make them look nice is a complete nightmare, I found. So let me show you an example. This guy, who for some reason I did it in yellow, So you can see all these little sort of bumps and ridges around the edge. I just found that to be a complete disaster trying to get all that highlighted. And the other thing is they almost all, I think maybe even all full stop, have this sort of lattice of, I don't know what you call them, rope, tie, laces. Laces, they're laces, I think. Here's one of the done ones. At the top of the shirt to keep the shirt obviously tied together. And those, I just find them really difficult. I think they're really fiddly. And if you get it wrong, you stain the skin beneath, or actually just painting the skin beneath is a complete nightmare. Ugh, anyway. So let's do that. Let's get that lattice done. See if I can do it without ruining more. Oh, I've ruined so much of the green. Oh well, it wasn't very good anyway. Because it goes, oh God. Yeah, so you get this like weave. You're going to try and pick it out really bloody carefully. And then make it look like leather. It's quite difficult. And if you don't do it, I find the whole area just looks really messy. And there's this bit that comes down here as well. Okay, there we go. Actually, that wasn't so hard. That was fine. So yeah, it does make a big difference once it's done. So we get that to focus. Because then it starts to, I don't know, give you some reference. And what you can do, let's get the tusk or fur. Get a little splodge of that. And use that just to do these paint pots. I think I lose about half the paint just squeezed out over the edges. Anyway, and these, I'm not going to add any water to this. It's already a nice thin paint. And then you can just do a little highlight on the top of the two laces where they overlap. I promise that will look okay once you've put some flesh shade in. So I'll do that as well while I'm here, because I don't wash the skin generally in flesh shade, because I want some quite pale skin, and so I'm just going to paint up from the skin tone I have. The exception is in here, because there's nothing really you can do with the colour that's between those two lattices, laces, whatever they are. It's just not enough space, at least for me, to work with. So I just drop some flesh shade in there and hope that no one notices. And you know what? I'm going to do his hair as well while I'm here, because he's got blonde hair, this lad. Classic hipster man bun. I might as well do that while we're here as well, because I must admit that goes on really, really nicely. Look at that. And there's so, because they're, you know, these are modern Forge World models, they just look lovely. The amount of detail is absolutely stunning. If only they'd bloody sell them. I bought these ones secondhand from a lovely guy on Facebook. And once I've run out, that's it, because there hasn't been any up for sale. That's why I keep showing you this screen. They're just gone. And they've been gone for like 6 months. So I've ordered some 3D prints, and before anyone, or particularly Games Workshop, has a go, I would buy your models if you would let me, but you won't. Also, in any event, I think it's quite hard for you to have a copyright on woodsy hipster lumberjack. I think they preceded you, I'm afraid. There we go. Oh. Ricky, hey Ricky. Ricky says, everyone bashes Citadel paint bots, but too thin coats are so much worse. They constantly clog up and the washes evaporate. Mate, I'm glad it's not just me. You are bang on, absolutely bang on there. The too thin coats paint pots are a complete nightmare. GW ones are as well. Army Painter, I find, are pretty good. I don't tend to have a problem with Army Painter paint pots. Hellboy says, just want to say, love your content. Always makes you laugh hard. I'm returning to MESBG on Thursday. Thanks part to you. Keep up the great work. That's awesome. Thank you very much. What are you returning to MESBG with? Are you have you got an event or game planned? And do you have an army lined up? It's such a good game, and yeah, I really love it. Really, like I said, I've been playing. I was away for a little bit, and I've come back, and I've been playing with just some casual games with a friend. I should say it's such a good game. It's such a good game. It's so much fun, and I'm really enjoying this new army, and the fact that every army has such a unique play style and feel is really lovely. So I hope you have a good time, and you're very, very welcome here indeed. Well, what we're doing? Oh, that's right, painting, apparently. That being said, I'm likely to soon get bored of this. Not the game, this specific model, and paint my... Oh, God. Yeah, Ricky, look at that. That's just insane. Insane. And I don't know how to stop it. I don't know how to get these paints to behave, but I just find them impossible to keep the paint in the pot. I'm going to just try and save some of this, getting it on the wet palette, and then at least it will survive a little bit longer. Bloody hell. Well, since it's out, I'll start using it. And I hate this bit. This is probably, like I said, the worst bit of painting this model, which is this weird sort of stripy coat thing. I think the best you can do, so catch the edges like this, obviously, nice and easy. And then I catch the inside edges as well of this, like there's a little sort of protruded, it's almost like a border. The coat's got a border for some reason. And then for this bit, the lattice, I should get as much, I suppose it's kind of like a dry brush really. I just get quite a lot of paint off the brush. And oh God, that was a mistake. And then just run up and down the lattice and hope that you're catching the edges, which I do think are slightly raised. It hasn't really worked though. It's so temperamental. This is the only, and annoyingly, like there are some of them don't wear this weird coat thing. Some of them wear like this guy just wears a shirt, but they seem to be the I think 2/3 of them have got the weird coat on, and I'd quite happily take a fewer with the coat, but I will stop going on about it in a second. But you just have to do so much of this. And then I just get bored and I'm like, I'll just slap it on, see what happens. Oh, there you go. It's getting, we're getting there. Mark Hansen. Hey, Mark. How you doing? Mark says, is it just because I live in a hot place, but I cannot get my contrast paints to stay closed? Some of the... I haven't had much trouble with contrast paints. It's just it's the layer paint. It's just the regular paints. GW I just find to be a complete and total arseache. Yeah, I mean, I remember getting a Mornfang Brown when I was away camping, and I got it because the last one was just so clogged. It was so clogged. It was impossible to get the lid closed. And I'd pried the top off, and I'd squeezed the paint out, and I'd tried to chisel it all out with a like a sculpting tool. And I was just like, screw this. There was only like a drop left in the bottom anyway, so I got a new one. And that one, the first time I closed it, some paint came like squeezed out the back. So I genuinely don't know how that happened. How did GW design pots that are so bad? Anyway, Hellboy says, I played back when Fellowship and the Return of the King rules dropped, or 2 times Return of the King rules dropped, stopped after the Harad book, but watched fun battle reports and tournament recipes. Recaps, excuse me, and it looks like good fun. Oh, cool. Well, you've been playing a lot longer than I have then. I never played Middle-earth until the last edition. I think I joined pretty much at the beginning of the last edition in 2020. So I had no prior experience at all. But I think I was disillusioned with... I played a lot of 40k and I was disillusioned with the way that was going. And before that, I played a lot of fantasy and I was disillusioned with the fact that had been blown up. So I was in the market for a new game. I was a homeless gamer in that way, in that sense. And Middle-earth just sort of dropped into my lap. Sort of by accident, I painted Aemir and I bought him just, I think, I can't even remember. We did buy the box set. We bought the Lord of the Rings box set, and played with some friends, and we had some fun. And then I decided that I was going to do some Rohan, so I got Emma, painted him, and it all just sort of kicked off from there. But I must admit, now my attention is very much split between MESBG and the Old World. I'm thoroughly enjoying the Old World at the moment. I don't know if anyone in chat plays it, but it's such a good game. Such a good game. Mark, also my Nurgle Green has gone manky. Yeah, fair enough. Appropriately manky. Yeah, I mean, yeah. There you go. That's the 1-1 we can give Games Workshop a pass on. Right. Would anyone be pissed off if I just painted my? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do the sword on this lady. We're mixing up. Sorry. I don't know. Just can you put square bases in a painting handle? Yeah, apparently so. Right. Sorry, guys. We're gonna do the sword because that's interesting. But watching someone paint just a Beorning and highlight letters and stuff, that's not interesting. No one cares about that. So we're gonna do this lady's sword because I think it'll be quite interesting. I'll show you what I'm gonna do. Let me grab some paints. Oops, that's that bloody screen again. There we go. So, Sapphire Bright. We've got our white and black. That's it, pure navy. So these are our colours for this one. Oh no, oh, no, Harry, you popped in at exactly the wrong time. Yeah, sorry. So we were painting Beornings. We were, but I just got bored. I'm not bored of I love it. It's great, and I've been talking about it and going on about how much fun they are to play. Talking about the fact I've played some games with them and really enjoyed it. And we painted some. We painted this much of one. We did a bit of an axe, so that it hasn't gone quite as I'd hoped, and some leathers and some green, and then I kind of got some pink on the green and ruined that a bit. But I've got a hankering to paint. I want to try some to change this guy up. We were talking about metallics versus non-metallics. I was saying I really like this model. I was very proud of this model, except for the sword. I hate the metallic sword on it. So I was going to do a sort of funky bluish non-metallic sword. So many apologies. If anyone, I advertised this as Beornings. So if anyone in chat is like, "Oh, I came here for Beornings," but there's only 16 of you. I don't think anyone cares. I don't think anyone cares. Yeah, Mark says, my problem isn't the paint cloggage, but the weird rubbery lids that go on to a tight seal. Next day, they all look jaunty, offset flat caps. I think yeah, fair enough. I think they're just awful. I think they're terrible. But there we go. But then I used to think dropper pots were like the way of the future. And then I realized that they also have their flaws, as we've seen from, I mean, look at the absolute state of this. What a disaster. And that will, of course, dry shut and make it really hard to open. Right. So with this one, we're going to start with this really beautiful paint set. So I bought a set of blue paints from Army Painter. It's like, I think they call it their color dryads or triads or whatever, where they're just sort of thematically linked paints. I must admit, I wouldn't bother with them. A lot of the paints included are very, very similar and just slight variations on their value, so you can happily get to the same with just a drop of white or a drop of black. But Army Painter do some gorgeous blue paints. So here we go. We're just going to get a base coat on here of this Imperial blue. And it just goes on so nicely already. Even though this is an old metal miniature. Oh, I bought this off. I tell you what, it might be in chat. I bought this off Sean. Legend that he is. Back when the Old World launched, and I've just been very, very slowly chipping away at it. But I have a 2,400 point Old World tournament in April next year. which looks fantastic. I'm really excited about it. So I've got to be finishing old world models. Okay, we will do one more coat of that once it's dried a little bit. Give it a second. Whilst it's doing that, I need ideas for where to go in February. Well, end of Jan, beginning of February. I've got 2 weeks, a 2-week road trip, and I have no idea where to go. I'm thinking the continent, but I am not averse to staying in the UK. It will probably be to paint old world stuff, probably wood elves. So any ideas, very, very gratefully received. I could plan out a little trip. I want to see some cool nature. Lurpaul says, Old World is so much fun, but my club has moved on to run sweaty lists. Oh no. Let's turn me off it for a bit at the moment. Yeah. Oh, that's a real shame, dude. Particularly because unfortunately, there's some real space for sweaty lists at the moment, isn't there? Because the Cathay is ridiculously powerful with their balloons and their cannons with the ogre loaders. Really, really powerful, and some of the armies are just complete trash. Wood Elves, sadly, are in that position. They're really not good at all. Really struggling. There is going to be a balance patch in January. It was in one of the articles recently, so perhaps you'll find a more amenable gaming experience post January. I'm sincerely hoping so, because Wood Elves are really tough to make them work at the moment. That's my own fault for playing them. Right. Normally, when I was choosing the highlights for a sword like this, you just go opposite edges. But it's not so straightforward now, because this sword has got the 2 blades, or bladed edges, whatever it is, one on either side. And then it's got the middle bit as well. So I'm not entirely sure how to do that. Just random. We'll just do some random spots. See what happens. Mark says, I despise pterodactyl pots. You get more volume because of the amount wasted. Proactyl, not pterodactyl. Proactyl pots. I don't know what they are. Proactyl. You're going to have to tell me what they are. Sorry, I've just butchered that word like 4 times. I still can't pronounce it. Mark says, come to Granada and see the Alhambra, largest Moorish citadel apart from Istanbul. That sounds cool. Fuck nature, we have tapas. Fair. I only had tapas for the very first time this year, which is nuts because I'm 35 years old. And it was at Harry's tournament, the first evening of Harry's tournament, and it was ace, absolutely ace. Really enjoyed it. So that's not a bad shout. Melkeen Velho says, hey Alex, how are you? I'm good, thank you very much. Thanks for stopping in. I hope you are well as well. We are presently, it was advertised as painting Beornings, and I did spend quite a lot of time today prepping Beornings to paint. But I'm flip-flopping, and now I'm painting a Battle Standard Bearer for the Old World. So just picking where the highlights are going to go at the moment. I think that's probably right. Yeah, that'll probably be right. Pro acryl. I still don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. Clearly not. I'm not with it. I'm not knowledgeable as to all the different. I'm assuming it's a paint brand. Evening all. Woody, hey Woody. Been really tempted to do Old World. How is it? I love it. I absolutely love it. I think you'll get mixed opinions, but it is a growing community that seems to be doing very well. More events. It's increasing number of new releases. I feel like it's a growth time for the old world, and I think it deserves it because I think it's a fantastic game. Definitely one that needs some finessing, I think what people would say. So they if you don't know, they obviously released the first edition nearly 2 years ago now. And there was some significant flaws. And so they released a what people have been calling a sort of 1.5 edition, which came out a few months ago and was just an update, but it was an update that did change some big parts of the game. So, for example, infantry didn't really have a proper role, which is problematic for a rank and flank game, and it was all monsters all the time. So they sort of fixed that and did a few other bits and pieces, and it's in a much better state now. I think the consensus would be. I think the consensus would still be there's work to do, but I would suggest that it's a game worth getting in on. If anyone's still following the painting, sorry, what I'm doing is obviously it looks horrible and messy at the moment, but oh, bloody hell, I knocked it over. But oh God, it fell off. Jesus. I'm obviously still just picking out really where everything's going to go, and we'll start blending all the colors together shortly. I don't want to ruin this model. I really like it. Grab a little bit of that black, put it in with there. A little bit more. I'll do. Jamie says, we have the ferry to the continent from Newcastle. Got some woods on the forest on the way north. Nip to the continent, see the Netherlands, Denmark, come back. Do you? I thought that Newcastle... Does that go to... Where's that go to? I thought that ferry had gone. It doesn't go to Denmark, does it? It goes to... I don't know. Where's it go? Because there used to be one to Norway, right? Wasn't there one from like Newcastle to Oslo? Something like that. And I always wanted to take it. I never had the chance. Amsterdam. Gotcha. Oh, I can't believe they cancelled the Norway one. It's such a bummer. I love ferries. I don't know why. I always love ferries. When I did the France trip, I was like a kid. I was so excited to get there. And I booked a really early morning ferry. Not because I even really needed to, but just because I love that excitement of getting set off really early and having a breakfast on the ferry kind of thing. And I love how easy it was to do. We just sort of made it through customs and all that stuff. And they were like, okay, we'll just go wait in the car park. But they didn't bother putting us on the ferry we were supposed to be on because we were there so early. They just put us on the next ferry. You just went. We got to France like 3 hours earlier than we expected. And it was all just so magical. A magical time. But maybe I'm just an infant. It went straight through the Norwegian oil fields. And it was so cool to see the oil rigs at night. Oh, that sounds incredible. Did you go on it? It sounds like you went on it. It sounds amazing. Oh yeah, Jamie says managed a trip on the Norway one once, and it was amazing. Stavanger was beautiful. Oh, guys, you're making me jealous. There's still got to be some good. So there's the one to Santander, right? That one seems cool. I would definitely do that. There's one from Norway to Iceland, I think, which I've looked at a few times, but it would cost £1,000 to take the van on it. Which, I mean, as awesome as that sounds, what other cool ferries are there? Well, that's one of the reasons. One of the only reasons I went to the Outer Hebrides is because you go on the Hebridean ferry. Right, I'm going to start. Oh God, I can't see a bloody thing. Bring these colours back together. because that obviously extremely messy at the moment. Now's the time for the endless, what do you call it? Layering. Just layering back and forward over and over again. Trying to smooth out all these transitions. Well, guys, I mean, you've clearly got some good knowledge on cool shit to do. So give me hints. Give me, where should I need a plan to get excited about for this road trip. Something wood elfy. What's the wood elfy connection for a Norway trip? Because I would very happily do a sort of painting inside the Arctic Circle kind of trip. I think that would be awesome. But I need to justify it with reference to a theme. Schwarzwald Forest in Germany. Oh, go on, do tell. Have they got wood elves there, have they? Chaos Marauders in a tiny Norwegian village. So that sounds amazing, but there's no way I'm switching it. It's got to be wood elves. As gorgeous as the new Chaos Marauder models are, and they are absolutely stunning. I mean, that was a beautiful moment for the old world, I think, because it was just so out of the blue. Iceland has lots of elven folklore. Yeah, Iceland has been a big one for a long time, I must admit. I think that'd be awesome. God, right, this bloody light. It's not. Black Forest. So is that the one? Because I think the biggest forest in I think the biggest forest in Western Europe is in Bavaria, I believe. So that might be the one you're talking about, which I must admit is very tempting. I mean, Germany would be awesome anyway, for obviously like the the Holy Roman Empire / Empire of Man crossover. I think that'd be great. And I've not been in about 2 decades to Germany. And it's such a cool country. So I'm definitely not opposed to a German road trip. I could go visit our Danish MESBG friends. Yeah. I don't know what forests in Denmark have, though. Iceland is an excellent country for van road trips. You see, I do watch a lot of like van life YouTube of people in Iceland, and it looks amazing, absolutely amazing. I mean, I always thought that I'd take like the avatar of Cain there from Eldar for 40k and go and see a pyroclastic flow whilst painting the sort of molten lava base on the avatar of Cain. And maybe one day, but I haven't been in a 40k mood for a little while, and I'm really obsessed with doing Old World and MESBG at the moment. And before anyone says, well, you could do the Balrog, that's another great sort of molten fire demon one. At the moment, it's got to be MESBG, not MESBG, Old World. I need to get an Old World army done. I've got about 1,000 points painted. I've got a Glade Captain, a Glade Lord, 18 Eternal Guard, 16 Glade Guard, and a Bird. But I need to get to 2,500 points by April, and that's quite a big ask. Yeah. February will be a great time to see the Northern Lights. Now that's true. That's true. But here's the problem, right? Is with a lot of this stuff, it's so tempting for me to just be like, I'll just go to Scotland again. You know, I have been very, very tempted to do the North Coast 500 again. You know, that was one of the best weeks of my life, and I only had a week to do it. I could take 2 weeks this time and go and see you could see a whole new range of stuff. And it's easy because there's no having to sort the dog out with international travel requirements and stuff like this. It's just super straightforward. Yeah, it's difficult. Gil Hooley, come to Scotland, mate. I don't need much convincing. It is like the greatest country on earth. And I've been meaning to go back in such a long time, but I just don't want to get repetitive. You know, I do want to branch out, and I do want to see Germany. I definitely do want to see Germany. But is February a good Germany month? Will stuff be open in February? Because it won't be in Scotland, but that's fine because you're not there to to have open things. You're there to just go and see the incredible landscapes and escape the midges, right? Pints can be provided. Mate, that does sound good. That does sound good. Right, I know this is nowhere near done. Don't go thinking that because I'm highlighting it, I think that this is an acceptable non-metallic metal sword. It isn't. But I do find, once the highlight's on, you start to see whether it's too bright, too dark, you know, what you need to be doing. And also, if you are ever doing non-metallics and struggling, I do find if you put the highlight on, it really brings it together in quite a magical way. And it might give you some confidence to carry on. And when I was first doing it, I just thought it looked absolutely appalling. And I watched a video that said exactly the same thing. He said, put the highlight on, because you'll see how the process is going to work out. And I was like, oh yeah, it's not impossible. It's just a trick of the eye. What do you call it? Although with these old metal blades, I must admit, this is the difficult bit. It's getting that highlight where there's barely any change in angle, and it's not particularly sharp because it's old metal. I mean, this model must have been produced 20 years ago. And I don't mean designed, I mean actually produced. So this bit's hard. Mark Hansen, what else in Alhambra? Largest Moorish city outside. Oh yeah, the Moorish city. Yeah, that does sound pretty awesome. Oh god, there's so many options. I might Google it. I don't know how you get there. What's the most efficient travel route for a man and a van and a dog? There we go. Kilda. That's the name of the forest I was looking for. Yeah. No, it wasn't. Yeah, you're right. No, that's the one I went to last year. Oh god, I can't remember. Yes, that place is awesome, and such a surprise as well. I didn't even know it existed, and it was just there. And it's obviously absolutely enormous. Very beautiful. They're skiing on Sierra Nevada, next to Alhambra, largest Moorish citadel, outside of Istanbul, Constantinople. You hadn't. I wish you'd mentioned that it was the largest Moorish citadel outside of Istanbul/Constantinople. That would have been really helpful information to have. Sorry, I'm just now concentrating. It's going completely silent. Houstonian greetings. Hello. How are you doing? It's very nice to have you here. We are trying to decide on a road trip for next year. I've got 2 months off. 2 months? Oh God, I wish. 2 weeks off. And we're trying to figure out where I should go and film. And people seem to be pitching wherever they live. So if you want to pitch Houston, then now's your chance. I'll tell you what, one day, a massive American road trip would be pretty fucking sick. I've always wanted to do, there's a train that runs from Seattle to, where is it? Seattle to somewhere. It might even be, no, it isn't. It's not Seattle at all. It's Boston to San Francisco. That's it. Like through the mountains and stuff. And it's got like this one carriage that's just all massive panoramic windows. And it just looks absolutely awesome. I would love to do that. Mark says, ferry to France or Spain, and then a long drive to Granada and Alhambra. Largest Moorish citadel outside of Istanbul and Constantinople. Gilhuli, is the castle video still on the cards? Oh my god, you're gonna have to remind me of that. What was the castle video? I'm sorry. I'm so useless. Also, I think this sword is getting there. I think it's slowly getting there. I'm just gonna keep going. 66 miniatures on Route 66. I tell you what I thought about, and that is actually quite cool. I mean, obviously, if you're doing Route 60, what's the alien route? Which one's the alien road? Because you could, if you're doing a sci-fi system. I mean, I really want to do a Legion one someday because there's so many amazing Star Wars filming locations in the UK. You could do a really, really cool tour of Star Wars filming locations, and that in Scotland at the dam they filmed Andor at. Start in London at the on the Jubilee line where they filmed parts of Rogue One. You know, Ireland. You could go to Luke's Island off the coast of Ireland. Just do loads of cool stuff. So Gilhuli says, I think it was going to be a tour of castles with a similar vibe to Helm's Deep Minas Tirith. Yeah. Yes, you're right. That's absolutely right. It was going to be at the same time as filming my last one. That's absolutely right. Yes, it was the same time as filming my last one. I was going to do a tour finding, I think it was Helm's Deep specifically, because Helm's Deep I find to be such an unusual fortress because it doesn't seem to have any strategic value whatsoever. Yes, I think that would still be on the cards. The problem is, so I was too ambitious last time. That's why it didn't get done. I did it at the same time as I was filming the Men of the West video. I ended up basically just doing the Men of the West one because that's all I really had time to do. And now I have to do an Old World one. This time at least has to be Old World. But Scotland, I mean, Wales is quite good for that because I was going to do sort of like, because Wood Elves are druids basically. And of course the Roman Empire basically just genocided the Druids, killing them and destroying their glades and holy sites and things like that. And I was going to do, so go to like Anglesey, which is like the site of atrocities against the Druids. I thought that'd be quite cool. Okay, try not to ruin this here. God, there's just not enough water in that. Where's my white? In Scotland, we destroyed a lot of our castles in the Wars of Independence. Yeah, what a waste. Genociding the Druids sounds like a rad folk black metal band. Wales has many castles. It does. That has, I think, of any nation. I can't remember whether it's in Europe or in the world. It has the most castles per square foot, and obviously some of them are awesome. You've got one? It's a big one. Oh bloody hell! That's too close. I couldn't judge the depth. I did it again. Oh, I'm just gonna leave it now. There's one really cool one. It's on the north coast. It's in a town. It's massive, and it's basically got a railway running right through it. It's got a train that goes like along the castle wall. I've always wanted to see that one. I need to check something in just a second. It has occurred to me that I'm expecting my dry cleaning today. It hasn't arrived yet. This paint's just not wet enough. There we go. Okay. We're getting somewhere with this, actually. We are getting somewhere. Oh. All right, bear with me a sec. Let's have a quick look at my phone. See where my dry cleaning is. Sorry about this, having to do this like midstream. I just completely forgot. I forgot that it was arranged for today. Come on. Show me what's going on. Oh, piss. They're not going to deliver it at all today. That's fine. They can do it tomorrow. It's on hold. Okay. All right. That's my fault. It's done. Okay. So, plenty of castles in Germany. Yeah, and some cool ones as well. I mean, that was what I loved about France. The one thing I loved about France was, there was lots of things I loved about France, but obviously the architecture is so different, and the castles were very, very Warhammer Fantasy, very Bretonian with the conical towers and being placed in such, I don't know, such a variety. You go to Carcassonne on the near the Med, and it's just a completely different vibe to the castles in the north, around Paris, and some of those that were more decorative than they were functional. I mean, Carcassonne was just one of the most staggering places I've ever been to. It's absolutely incredible. So that's one thing that's really drawing me to a country like Germany, is to see a completely different style again. And there's just so much rich history there that I've not explored. I mean, Germany is definitely at the top of the pile. Even if not for this specific trip. Although possibly for this specific trip. It means I have to take a ferry, and as discussed, I do like a ferry. Sorry, I'm just trying to... These last few blends. good. I think a little tiny more drop of that beautiful blue. Oh, we're going to have to get darker than that. That's better, I think. Oh God, the dog's coming, I think. Just going to cause chaos. Oh God, I ruined it. Oh, Jesus. Oh, I hate that. I just couldn't see if I couldn't judge the depth properly. Oh, I feel like I basically had this and then I fiddled with it. Hey, Kiwi doggy. How you doing, little dude? I'll get you on camera in a second. Oh, brush is splayed as well because I sort of pushed it into that. There you go. That's the intervening colour. Now, obviously, there's a lot of work to do. But I think we're getting there. I think that looks a lot better than the metallic. I mean, we can compare. Look, so that's the metallic. That's the non-metallic. What do you think? Metallic paints, non-metallic paints. And that was like the best I could do. I really can't do better than that. It just looks so crap. It looks dirty and cheap and messy. Whereas that, like I say, we're not there yet, but I just think it looks so much nicer. Jamie's got to go. No worries, Jamie. Lovely to see you. Enjoy the hobby hangouts. I really did as well. Thank you. I needed this. This was very therapeutic for me. So thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate it. Right. Gilhooly, non-metallic version. Yeah, thank you. I think so. Like I said, there's work to do. It's not there yet, but the problem is now I'm so tempted to do the gold non-metallic as well. But if I do that, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to have to do the entire army in non-metallic metals. Oh, but it looks so much better. I'll get a spear and I'll see. I wonder if we can try it. Let's try it on a spear blade. First, let's see the dog. Hey, girl. Hello, hello, yeah, hello. How you doing? How you doing, big girl? Hello, hello, hello. How you doing? How you doing? You're a good girlie. Okay. Should we get you up? Should we get you up? Okay. Let's do this. Come on. That's a good girl. That's a good girl. That's a big girl. I'm afraid the painting might have ended. Woody says that's gorgeous work. Thank you very much, Woody. That's very, very kind indeed. Yeah, I'm quite pleased. I'm quite pleased. I just think it brings it to life in a much... It's just a focal point, isn't it? It's a focal point is what it is. And the nice thing about having something like that, something jazzy that takes the eye and draws it in, it steals attention away from some of the shoddy work on the rest of the miniature. It's a real nice way to sort of cheat the painting competition, I think. But I do like it. I do like it. And I think I might have to go back and do all of the miniatures the same way, which is going to be really painful. But I think it's worth it. Right, we've been on for nearly 2 hours, and I've been I've been hijacked, so I might leave it at that. Thank you so much for being with me. Like I said, this has been really nice for me, really therapeutic. It's lovely to just hang out. I will be back with proper content, so I'm doing the trip in January. I'll let you guys know what I decide to do. I will edit Tis a Gathering, Harry's amazing tournament from the spring, because it was just wonderful, and Harry's a legend, and I think I should share what was a really fantastic event. It was the second consecutive year. I hope he does a third one, because I think I think it's unique, and it's going to become a bit of a staple in the calendar. Then next year, like I said earlier, I'll be filming more tournament reports, and there'll be a road trip as well. So thanks very much, everyone. Have a great rest of your night, and I'm sure we'll catch up again soon.